Once again, we have Matt Struthers for a bit of an earlier crop report. It's on Thursday today instead of Friday, but he's always here as always. And so thank you so much for being with us again today, Matt.
Oh, thanks for having me back.
Let's start again by talking about the Northwest region and here in Lloydminster and kind of talk about how the crops have come along as we've now basically there's only a few more days before October and how important it is that most of our farmers are done and are getting close to done harvesting. As October is coming, frost will be imminent very soon if winter is coming early.
So this past week for the Northwest, they had some really great harvesting weather. Nice, calm, warm, dry days with a little sprinkle of rain here and there, but it didn't set them back very much. They have 70% of the crop now in the bin up in the Northwest. That's up from 63% last week, and 44% is their 5-year average. So they're way ahead of that. So that's very good to see. Just with the way things are going right now, if the weather holds out, it's likely to see that harvest will be wrapped up in that region, maybe about 2 weeks, maybe a little bit longer if there's a few delays here and there, but very good so far.
We've talked before that the Southwest and the West Central regions are nearly done, or most of their producers are quite close to done, whereas the Eastern half has been a bit more wet and might be a little bit below that average. How is it looking across the rest of Saskatchewan so far?
This past week, we're sitting at 81% of the crop now in for the whole province. So that's very good to see. And like you kind of touched on there, the Southwest is almost done. They have 98% and the West Central is 97%. So they're just about wrapped up. There's a few canola fields out there maybe to get picked up, and some flax fields that can wait a little bit longer. Flax is pretty tough, and producers don't mind waiting until the first frost to go after and get it. Whereas in the east, in the southeast, there's still lots of crop out there, especially around the Regina area, to be picked up, and farther southeast. Same with the east central and up into the northeast as well. Just a lot of crop to be going or to be getting off there, and just the weather they've had the last couple of weeks has not been ideal for many producers. So hopefully it dries up and they're able to just get right in there and get it all off.
Not a thing that a lot of producers will have to deal with this year due to it being a drier year than perhaps some of the more wet years. More often in Alberta, it's quite wet. Are producers in that Southwest having to deal with drying of their crops or using any grain dryers, or they've been able to just, once they've started harvesting, they can throw it right in the bin with no worries?
Yeah, no, most producers in the Southwest and West Central region, and then other drier parts of the region of the province, haven't had to deal with grain dryers or aeration bins or anything like that. But there are several reports across the province of many producers having to use those grain dryers or aeration bins, especially in the East Central and Northeast and parts of the Southeast that have remained wet over the last couple of weeks here, and just the grain won't dry down in the field, so you got to dry it down once you get back to the farm. There were just with that abnormal heat that we were getting in the tail end of August there and into September, there were some complaints about heated grain, and so that was an issue that producers needed to take care of before they stored their grain or sold it. They needed to cool it down a bit and keep that from becoming a larger risk.
Thank you so much for all the information, Matt, and we will hopefully see you once again next week for another crop report.
Sounds good. Thank you very much.